During the Tokugawa period in Edo, the samurai, Sensui Kanzaki, and the shinobi, Kenroku Sanada, are being taken to exile by boat. They become caught in a furious storm and are transported forward in time to a devastated Tokyo which is in ruins. They see a man who transforms into a monster before their eyes and then attacks them. They are saved by Kathleen Funada and the old man Mita, who take them to a compound of surviving humans. She and Dr. Yoshinaga explain that the monsters are the result of the virus known as Gibiate, which has infected humans throughout the world. Sensui and Kenroku are integrated into the community and try to adapt to the new world. One night, Old Man Meter returns to the compound with a samurai sword for Sensui, but he is followed by Gibiate. They are beaten off, but later the spotlights fail and flying Gibiate attack in earnest. Mita is captured and wounded by a Gibiate, but he is rescued by Sensui, who then attacks the Gibiate with the sword, slicing them to pieces. More Gibiate break through the defenses and begin to attack the people. Kenroku joins the battle, initially using wire as his weapon before discovering the effectiveness of hand grenades. Later, the survivors of the attack prepare to leave, and Mita asks Kenroku to kill him before the virus and his wounds turn him into a monster. As they leave, two unknown men watch them as they discuss leaving the city themselves to find a new source of food. Following the Gibiate attack, the 7 survivors plan to move to the Niigata area and board a boat to mainland Asia. Dr. Yoshinaga leads an expedition to collect his Gibiate vaccine research, but when they reach the helicopter on the rooftop, they see an unconscious man on another roof. Yoshinaga pilots the helicopter to investigate, but a huge female Gibiate known as Meteora releases supersonic waves, destabilizing the helicopter, then shoots out appendages from its mouth and grabs onto it. Kenroku and Sensui try to free the helicopter but fail, so Sensui attacks the monster with his sword. Meanwhile, the unconscious man, a huge monk named Yukonagio Onakura, recovers and helps the rest of the team leap to safety. However, the soldier Brian is injured by Meteora. Sensui is unable to kill Meteora, but Kenroku crashes the helicopter into it before leaping to safety. Later, while Yoshinaga is treating Brian's injury, the soldier transforms into a Gibiate. The Gibiate, which once was the soldier Brian, attacks Yoshinaga, but it is killed by Adam. The group splits up to gather supplies for their trip to Niigata, and Yurika finds a samurai exhibit containing Sensui's katana Suige Sumaru and his western sword, halberd, while Yukonagio recovers his spiked club, Duzen. They suddenly come under attack by lizard-like Gibiate, but after fighting their way outside, they find more waiting for them on the ground and others flying in the air. Sensui, Kenroku and Yukonagio cut a path through the monsters. The 6 survivors manage to escape in a camper van. However, Sensui is exhausted. As talk turns to the past, Kenroku recalls when he first met Sensui during the Battle of Sekigahara when they were on opposing sides. However, due to the vagaries of war, they were both exiled together. Back in the present, the group's van blows a tire, the noise attracting the attention of nearby Gibiate, which advance toward the stricken vehicle. Kenroku and Yukonagio fight off the flying Gibiate while other monsters advance towards the stricken van. Suddenly, Adam, with the knowledge that his infected wound will turn him into a Gibiate, walks towards them and sets off a massive C4 explosion, killing himself and the monsters. As the survivors escape, Yukonagio is embarrassed by the taunts of Kenroku about never knowing a woman and his suggestion that the monk marry Yurika. This causes Yukonagio to think back to the time when he was involved in the Ishiyama Hongan-ji War and the lonely death of his master, Duzen, just before he was spirited into the future. When the group stops for a break at a gas station, Kathleen is captured by a band of escaped convicts who call themselves the Galiants. Their leader, Renjiro Hatanami, challenges Sensui to a duel, but Sensui easily disarms him and the Galiants decide to withdraw. Later, Yoshinaga slowly drives the van into a dark tunnel, but they find it blocked with broken vehicles and infested with Gibiate. The 3 warriors exit the van to fight the Gibiate, but when Kathleen steps outside and throws hand grenades to clear the debris, she falls and is threatened by a Gibiate. Leader of the escaped convicts, Renjiro Hatanami, recalls how he survived the Gibiate pandemic while locked up in jail. Meanwhile, Kathleen is threatened by a Gibiate and the 3 warriors rush to her aid. However, she is saved by Iame, a former policewoman. As Kathleen faints, she recalls her early years with her parents and her father's death. After all the Gibiate in the tunnel are finally slaughtered, Kathleen invites Iame to join their group. Iame agrees while the scene is watched from a distance by Hatanami's band, the Galiants. Kathleen's group reach an onsen and relax for a while, where Sensui recalls the death of his parents and destruction of the Kanzaki clan, his adoption and training by Halbert before he died from an illness. It was the time when the Shimazu clan invaded Kushu to attack the Otomo clan. Otomo was aided by Sensui's later master, Juzen Matsumoto, from whom he received his katana, Suige Sumaru. As they leave the onsen in their van, Kathleen's group realize that they are being followed by the Galiants and Iame recognizes her father. The Galiants are running out of food and supplies and so they try to stop the van of Kathleen's group. However, they encounter Meteora Gibiate again, which is blocking the road. Although it initially has a human appearance, Meteora transforms into an armored beast and advances towards the vehicles. Sensui and Kenroku, aided by Yukonagio, vainly try to stop it. Suddenly, Aim uses an abandoned vehicle to drive it off the road bridge where it is carried away by swiftly flowing water. Sensui collapses from his previous injuries while Aim tries to convince her father to stop attacking them and fight the Gibiate instead. Later, Kathleen's group stop at a food factory but lizard Gibiate are there. Aim uses her tonfa to dispatch them and the group enter the facility to rest. However, Yurika is stabbed by the stinger of an almost dead Gibiate. Yurika is stabbed in the foot by the stinger of a Gibiate, but Dr. Yoshinaga hopes that the stinger may be empty of venom. While everyone rests and Sensui lays in bed stricken with a fever, Yurika leaves the facility. Later, Kathleen finds a letter from her mother in which she promises to return if she does not become a Gibiate. Aim and Kenroku leave the others to gather medical supplies from another store and encounter some lizard Gibiate, but manage to kill them. Meanwhile, a large group of Gibiate surround the food factory, and Yukonagio goes outside alone to confront them, locking Kathleen, Dr. Yoshinaga and Sensui inside. Aim and Kenroku return from gathering supplies to find many dead Gibiate, including Yurika's mother who had transformed into a Gibiate, and Yukonagio who died protecting Kathleen. Meanwhile, the Galiant's van breaks down, and while Mikamoto, Hemuro and Sakuma are searching for food in a warehouse, they find a nest of Gibiate. To avoid being attacked after nightfall, they destroy the Gibiate with fire and explosives. Dr. Yoshinaga suggests that their group check out a nearby Gibiate virus treatment research center to see if they can make use of any research they may find. That night, under a red moon, Kenroku recalls the past, his friend Shin who taught him how to use the Kusuragama and who died on the night of a red moon. Dr. Yoshinaga and the group arrive at the Gibiate Virus Treatment Research Center to find the site infested with Gibiate. As they prepare to fight them, Renjiro Hatanami and his Galiants arrive and attack the Gibiate in return for being saved earlier. Together, the two groups clear the area of Gibiate and sit down to eat together, becoming allies in the fight against Gibiate. Renjiro begins to reconcile with his daughter, Aim, and Dr. Yoshinaga continues his research for a vaccine. Meanwhile, the Meteora Gibiate emerges from the nearby bay. The female humanoid Meteora Gibiate has followed the human survivors, and Sensui and Kenroku try unsuccessfully to stop it. It seeks out Dr. Yoshinaga who is working on the vaccine, but Kenroku uses explosives to blow it out of the building and it falls to its death. Suddenly, Yoshinaga emerges from the building and reveals that he and Meteora are aliens, and he tells the story of the Gibiate virus journey to Earth. With Meteora dead, he injects Aim with the Gibiate virus and then himself. Aim becomes a Gibiate and kills Hemuro, Mikamoto, Sakuma and then Sashigaya who tries to protect Hatanami with his life. Sensui and Kenroku manage to kill the Aim Gibiate, but Yoshinaga is still alive and is continuing to transform into a monster. Yoshinaga transforms into a Gibiate similar to Meteora but retains his consciousness. Kenroku and then Sensui try to stop him, but he is too fast and his skin is too tough to penetrate, causing Sensui to break his katana. Yoshinaga continues to transform and becomes a flying Gibiate similar to the one Aim did. Yoshinaga explains how the three warriors from the past came to the present through pieces of his spaceship falling to Earth. Hatanami gives Sensui his katana, and then attacks Yoshinaga, sacrificing himself, but exploding multiple sticks of dynamite attached to his body. This severely damages Yoshinaga and Sensui finishes of Yoshinaga by severing his head. Kenroku and Kathleen then board a boat to leave for the Asian mainland, but Sensui refuses to join them after revealing that he was wounded by Yoshinaga and may become a Gibiate. Kathleen hands Sensui a tracking beacon in case he survives as a human, and he turns back to attack the hordes of Gibiate approaching the port.